Yes, everyone, what's going on? Champions League football is back, and to talk about it and preview the game and see how our opposition are going to do, I am delighted to be joined by Dale from Straight News. As always, Shin joining us over from the United States, and we've got Scott joining us from Sweden as well. We've got a proper top representation of Reds from around the world here today, and we are going to be talking about the Champions League. Now, we've seen Jose Mourinho pull up tactics for certain competitions, focus on certain competitions, prioritise certain competitions. Do you want to see Manchester United prioritise the Champions League over the Premier League? Do you think we'll play a different set of tactics, and what tactics would those be? John, I'm coming to you first. What do you think?
I think we need to prioritise every competition we're in. We're at the stage of Jose Mourinho's career at Manchester United where we can't prioritise one over the other. Now, with that being said, of course, we've had a tumultuous start to the Premier League season, but we have the quality in the squad. We don't have the greatest of depth when you're looking at it in comparison to all the other the top elite teams across Europe's leagues. But nonetheless, we do have a strong squad, and at our day, given the right conditions, given the right mentality going forward, I think we do have a squad that can really take us far into the Champions League. I think a few videos ago, maybe we were doing some sort of debate. Somebody was asking us about our hopes in the Champions League and whatnot, and I had said we can remain and stay hopeful because despite that result against Sevilla last season, we did have a good run in that Champions League, and I think we can continue to push forward, if not further. We had a rocky start, but I think we can only go up from here in the Premier League, and I think we could do the same in the Champions League. Just continue to grind results, and I think we can stay hopeful. There's nothing wrong with the Manchester United squad. I feel like some people might take this over the edge and think oh my goodness, we have an absolute shipwreck happening here. Everybody, it's time to jump ship. We don't have that kind of situation. It was just a very difficult start because of all the negative news surrounding the media, surrounding the team with respect to Jose Mourinho and Paul Pogba and all that jazz. But we can stay positive. We can stay hopeful. In terms of the tactics, I don't think it's clear. I think it's clear that there's a very different approach from all clubs. Any club that really approaches their league versus the actual Champions League, I think it's a little bit more of a cautious approach. And I think Jose Mourinho is a lot more adept when it comes to taking on opposition in the Champions League. So, stay hopeful, stay positive.
Dale, do you want to see us line up tactically any different to what we've been doing in the Premier League, or do you just think Jose taking it a game at a time the way he normally does?
I think Jose will take it a game at a time depending on the opposition. Fergie, the same thing in Europe as well. And as John said, you need to be cautious. Teams in different leagues play different ways. Teams might be less physical, might be more physical. And Mourinho has players in the team to play that way. Obviously, we've seen the last few weeks. So I think as the group goes on and as the domestic leagues unfold, Mourinho's going to take a look at how Juventus are getting on, how Valencia are getting on, and Valencia extremely attack-minded. There might be a team we could open up quite easily.
Scott, it's about time we're back in the Champions League, and I think everyone's of the same sort of mind. Like, those Sevilla games were the low point of Jose's reign so far at Old Trafford, but the European football has genuinely been a pretty good experience for us under Jose. Do you expect us to go further than we did last season, this year in the Champions League?
I expect us to win it. No, I mean, just going back to, I think the losses that we've had this season, they've done us really well. Because what it's shown is that back four without two defensive midfielders exposes us. And I think that's what we're going to play all season now. I just think we're either going to have Matic, Fellaini, Pereira, Herrera when he comes back, but we're going to have now consistently two central defensive midfielders. And against any team with the firepower we have up front, we can win games 1-0, 2-0. But no, I'm confident. Listen, we've got some of the best players and some of the best attacking players. Why can't we win it?
I'm going to stick with you then, and let's talk about one particular attacking player. Yeah. He's getting a lot of grief from United fans at the moment, and this is someone that's had a pre-season, someone that didn't go to the World Cup, came in, he's on about $4.5 million a week, clearly. So Alexis Sanchez, is he doing enough to maintain this starts every game position that he's in? Do you want to see him rested for the Champions League? Do you want to see him play in the Champions League? What's your thoughts?
You have to play him. The guy's class. I mean, if that goal, the disallowed goal would have gone in, we won't be having this conversation today. He gets the ball, turns, runs at defenders, and tries to create, options. So at the end of the day, he's world class. Yeah, he gives the ball away sometimes, but it's not enough for me. You have to play him, and certainly Marshall has not done enough to say drop him. Rashford maybe. But, there's an argument there. But, for me, Sanchez has to play. He's a world-class player. He's just sometimes he's a bit overzealous in what he tries to do, but I'd play him. Just keep playing him. He's, like I say, he will score goals. He's class.
John, what sort of role do you think is going to get the best out of Sanchez and Manchester United? Last season we saw a lot of him and Pogba occupying the same space. It's not been an issue this season, but we're still not quite seeing the best out of Sanchez. What role do you think is the best one for him?
I think the conundrum here, and I think the biggest problem is that we still don't know where Alexis Sanchez can really flourish. But I think if you look at it in a bigger perspective, I don't want to go too deep into it, is we don't really know where the focus of our attack comes from. I mean, of course, at the end of the day, the pinpoint at the end of the product, it's going to be Lukaku. But are we dictating the tempo from Pogba? Are we dictating the tempo from Alexis? Like, it's just the clear contrasting idea in terms of how we attack going forward or how we transition from the middle to the final third isn't really just set. And I think perfect example is when we were watching the game against Watford. Alexis Sanchez really didn't seem to connect well with Lukaku or Pogba at all. I think they were missing a few passes. They were kind of overlapping in terms of the runs, and he looked very frustrated in that respect. With that being said, I personally didn't. I just want a full disclosure. I personally didn't really enjoy Alexis Sanchez, the idea of Sanchez joining Manchester United. But I think he does have the quality, and at the end of the day, we just need to find that right place. Lots of fans have shouted out for Alexis Sanchez playing down the right-hand side as opposed to playing down the left, so that we can really complement somebody like Jesse Lingard or Rashford or Martial playing from the left and sort of working together with Lukaku in that front three. But I think as of right now, Alexis Sanchez needs to stay on that left-hand side and really flourish and get to play a little bit more with the squad members that we have currently, and really learn Lukaku's patterns, Lukaku's running style, Lukaku's methods, as well as Pogba and everyone else sort of literally adjacent to him on the pitch.
Dale, 2 for 2 from the lads so far. I didn't expect that. What was you impressed with his performance against Watford? Would you keep him around in the side?
Things aren't quite clicking for Alexis still. But I definitely keep him around the side. He's a player that I truly admire. He's a player that when he gets the ball, no matter what the situations around him, he turns and he runs at defenders and he takes risks. And I think for the past few years, I've been critical of United going forward that we haven't been taking enough risks. It's been too safe. And although things aren't clicking for Sanchez, there's a part of me to feel it's only a matter of time before it does. And I know people are getting frustrated with him. I wouldn't necessarily go into this game or other games and we have to start Sanchez because we have so many options there to share around. Like, you can't forget about Rashford, who's suspended from the league. Maybe this is an opportunity for him to get some minutes because it'd be too long of a break if we don't play him until he comes back in the league. We've Anthony Martial too, who again, things aren't clicking, but we've so many good attacking players to play in that flank. We shouldn't have the view that we can only play one. We've a number of options, but Sanchez, don't write him off just yet. I really enjoy how no matter what situation, things aren't going his way. He's still, when he gets the ball, he's the right idea to turn, attack, and run at players. And look, when it does click, like Scott said, if he scored that goal, it wasn't disallowed, we wouldn't be talking about this. And I think we can all agree that he's a fantastic player, but just things aren't going his way at the moment. And hopefully it's only a matter of time.
I just want to include one thing really quickly. In that Watford game, Alexis Sanchez, there was this one really, really good moment where we hit Watford in a counterattack and we were very isolated, and it ended up being like a one-on-one situation between our front three and the Watford back line. And Alexis Sanchez took the ball and he was kind of starting from that left-hand side, and he looked for options immediately and didn't find it. In that split second, he decided to cut down the right and dribble real down central, and he had a shot blocked. And I thought that directness was what we can really, really benefit from somebody like Alexis Sanchez. And I tweeted it constantly that we lack the directness. We feel like sometimes we're a little bit more passive in that respect. And Alexis Sanchez, to give him, my love in that respect is that he can definitely provide that attacking flair and that intensity going forward. And I think, of course, rotating is a big issue, but at the end of the day, having somebody like Alexis Sanchez is always going to be a benefit.
It very much reminds me of the situation we found ourselves in with both Falcao and Kagawa, where on the surface of things you go, I can see the goods, I can see the player, it's not just quite working at the moment. And I don't know if we didn't have enough patience with those two and we should have more patience with Sanchez, or if it was never going to work in the first place and it needs to be addressed. I don't know. And I guess time will give us the answer to that one. Right, we are going to cut to a quick ad break. There you go. And now we're going to look at the predicted 11 from you guys. So, Rankcast Paul managed to nail 11 out of 11 last weekend. Very well done to him, which puts him top of the league. Dale, you're on 9 from 2 appearances. John, you're bottom of the league, but it's bottom of the league on 8, so it's not much difference between essentially top and bottom of the league. So I think this is going to be a tough one next week against Derby, arguably even harder. But this is going to be a tough one. If anyone gets 11 out of 11 here, that's impressive. Dale, I'm going to come to you first. Give us your starting 11 for this weekend's game against Young Boys in the Champions League.
David in goal, no surprise there. And we're going to give Dallas, however you pronounce it, a debut, a right back. I think he'll come in to Valencia, and Shaw will come back into right back or left back. And the centre back partnership will be small and was tremendous against Watford. I think you bring Bali back in rather than Lindelof. That's not to do with Lindelof, I just think that Bali, give him a chance to get back into the team, a bit of competition in the Champions League. I think we will see some rotation, especially against Young Boys. Midfield, we're going to see Matic holding role with Fred and Pogba. Obviously, Fellaini's been tremendous in the past 2 games against Burnley and a bit of brain fart at the weekend. But I'd say Watford and Fred will come in, hopefully, for Fellaini. Front 3, Lingard coming from the right, with Rashford on the left, and Lukaku up top.
Alrighty, Scott, do you want to give us your starting 11 for this weekend's Champions League fixture?
Yeah, absolutely. I'd have Romero in goal, because I just think this team isn't that great. I'm not going to say the name of them. Dalot, right back. I go with Smalling and Lindelof again, with Young at left back. I would then go with Matic, Pereira, and Pogba, with Lingard and I think Martial and Lukaku up top.
All right, Jose sort of dropped in his press conference at the weekend that Luke Shaw will play, but he didn't say if he'll start or if he'll come off the bench. So
there you go.
When picking your team, it's worth having in your mind that he said he will play, and I get the impression he's going to start as well. John, do you want to give us your starting 11, please?
Yes, sir. I think I agree with you there, Steve. I think Jose Mourinho is going to want to start Luke Shaw because he's going to want to try to get him back into the balance, back into the run of things before Wolves. So I'm going to start with David De Gea in goal, with a back 4 of Luke Shaw, Lindelof, Smalling, and I think Valencia is also going to keep his place here. Central defensive partnership-wise, Smalling and Lindelof had a good game last week. Jose Mourinho is going to want to continue that run of form, so we're going to keep that back 4 just like that. Midfield, it was a bit of a conundrum because I think maybe Jose Mourinho would have perhaps wanted to rest Matic's legs a little bit. He's not the same anymore. You got to want to slowly, give him a little bit more time to recover. Wolves is going to be a big game, and then following that, Derby again right after the bounce. So that was a bit of a conundrum, but of course his suspension is going to be an issue. So I think we're going to still stick with him here. We're going to go for the midfield 3 of Fred, Pogba, and Matic in that holding midfield role, with the front 3 of Lukaku spearheading the middle with Sanchez on the left, and I think Rashford's going to start here on the right.
Cheers, John. Right, for everybody watching at home going, hang on, he just said he was going to play Pereira in net, what you on about? We haven't seen the press conference just yet. We recorded this prior to Jose's Champions League press conference, so if there is any major team news, the lads aren't aware of that, so don't crucify them in the comments. Thank you. Righty, let's talk about opposition. Scott, you know a lot about Young Boys?
Sorry. No, thankfully not. No, but an old Liverpool fan used to. I'm not going to say
Allegedly.
His name. Allegedly, yes, of course. No, apparently, apparently they won the league. Sorry, Dale. And they're young.
Cheers for that, Scott. John, rumour has it you know about Young Boys.
I don't really know too much about them, but what I do know is that the last game they had to play it until extra time to grind out like a 3-2 or 3-0 victory. So that's kind of, I think fatigue might be an issue or a concern, and I think we can really capitalize in that respect. If memory serves me right, I think they're also in the same league as Basel. So Champions League is a league where you cannot underestimate your opponent at all. I mean, the Premier League is slowly becoming something like that, where every team is becoming some sort of like, oh, we got to be careful. And I think Champions League definitely we need to be aware and understand that although this might be a weak team, with all due respect, we still need to be very, very cautious approaching this team, because they were the league champions last season. And I think in terms of the winning, the last 6, they've had a very strong winning record. So nonetheless, we need to be very cautious. We need to approach them with a bit of respect, but play our style and make sure that we grind out a good strong result.
Dale, have you been Googling young boys this week?
Just I don't know what way to answer this. Regarding the football team from Switzerland, what I do know is that they won the league last season for the first time since the 80s. So, and the record previously to that was something they were building on, a few second place finishes playing Basel and stuff. So in Switzerland, from what I read, they seem to be a team on the up. But again, as John said, you cannot underestimate teams in the Champions League, and that's something that in previous years it's come back to bite United in the arse, and we can't be complacent. We need to take each team as they come and give them the ultimate amount of respect, and try and get away with.
So young boys are going to come back. Young boys are going to come back to bite United in the arse.
What I will say is they're 6 from 6 in the Swiss Premier League this season, scoring 19 goals, conceding only 4. So regardless of the quality of the competition that they're facing in the league, they're scoring a lot of goals. They're not conceding many goals. They play 4-4-2, which is something that you think would play right into the hands of a Jose Mourinho Manchester United. It is away from home. You would expect Manchester United to try and score some goals. But the same old thing is you don't need to win. I would hope that we win. I hope that we go with the intention of winning. You don't need to win away from home in the Champions League, providing that you win all of your home games. Now, it's obviously an incredible ask for us to do with Juventus being in the group. But I think if we don't lose the away games, a win or a draw, and you win all your home games, then you are going through, pretty much 99 times out of 100. Righty then, let's go to you first. Scott, give us your score prediction for this game in the Champions League.
6-0.
Christ. Dale.
1-0 United.
John.
I'm going to go 2-0.
I'm going to say 3-0 United, and all of the headline writers are going to say it was like Men United versus Boys or something along those lines. Absolute terrible puns, left, right and centre. Thank you guys for watching. Make sure to keep it locked to Full Time Devils for all of your matchday coverage from over there in Switzerland, as we're hopefully starting off our European campaign. Make sure to give all these guys a follow on social media. Thank you guys for watching. Get your comments, questions, queries and anything else in the comments below, and we will see you in the next one.
No, you don't want that one.
I think I've definitely do.
I'll let you see it next time.
Go on, John.
It's actually a pretty weird one. It's a fishing guidebook.
Screenshot that little while he's holding that up.
Read it out.
What's the biggest fish you ever caught, John?
It was a 20-pound bluefish. It was pretty big. It was like maybe, I don't know if you guys could get that on frame, but yeah.